with the live stream, and I'm going to be covering the Knicks. Better get this right. Before I get into this live stream podcast for a couple of minutes, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates and all the breakdowns that come here first when I'm live streaming or when I'm uploading videos here at Sports Choice Plus. Whatever you want to do, feel free to. And I'm live right now, so if you got any questions, put your comments in the questions in the comments. I'll answer them as I'm going over it. But Knicks fans, you have to get this right. When you're thinking about the New York Knicks and you're thinking about what they did, they finished with a pretty good season. They finished 51-31, second in the Atlantic Division, and you just ask yourself, could the Knicks have done something different this offseason besides firing Coach Tibs? When you think about overall the last 25 years, they haven't been able to make the playoffs. They've had several coaches that we know and love, but nobody was able to ever crack the code to get them into the playoffs where they're winning series and they're moving forward to round after round and getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. So with Tibbs, with all the talk about how he wore his players out and how everybody was tired of Tibbs, his star player Jalen Brunson spoke out about him. When asked, is this a guy that you essentially want to win with? Is this a guy that can lead you? And what's needed in order for this team to get over the hump? They all profess their love for Coach Tibbs. When you're thinking about just where this team was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and now how they've modified it to where they're top heavy, but they're still a playoff team. When you think about Karl Anthony Towns, when you think about Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, when you think about just where they are, I think that Tibbs could have done more with this group. I don't think he was given the proper chance to do it. I don't think he was given the proper time. When you think about 5 years, he cleaned house. He was able to provide structure. He was able to get his guys in there. And now you're looking at, okay, whoever they bring in is probably not going to get the job done. When you're thinking about the Knicks, you see that they've asked for permission to speak with Udoka from the Houston Rockets. They're not stupid enough to give up Udoka. When you think about Finch and the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not stupid enough to give up their head coach. And you think about the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks aren't stupid enough to give up Jason Kidd. So if you're getting one of these guys that's at a trusted place, you're going to have to pay a steep penalty, whether it be players in a trade, whether it be draft picks, whether it be whatever it is. You have to realize the Knicks had a great coach. Now, a lot of talk was them saying that they're going to bring in Mike Malone and these things. I don't think they need that. I think from the standpoint, if you're going to bring in somebody new, hit the reset button for somebody new and bring somebody that's great as an offensive talented coach. Somebody that can develop. It said, should LeBron James go to the Warriors and play with Curry? I don't think that's smart. When you think of him having a central Luka at his disposal now, and they made a trade to bring Luka there, that's probably going to extend his career more than playing with Steph Curry ever would. I think that Steph Curry at this point in time in his career, it is what it is. He's a jump shooter, and he's not going to get any younger, so he's not going to become a guy that slashes the court, and he's not going to become a guy that becomes more of a prolific inside player. He's still going to be the same shooter that he is. Chances are he's going to have a worse shooting percentage because of his age, because he's older. He's not doing the same things that he used to. But the Warriors are done, huh? Not done. I wouldn't say they're done. They can rebuild on the fly with Draymond Green and also Jimmy Butler. They can rebuild on the fly. I'm not saying you got to hit the rebuild button, but you need some help for those guys because they're older guys. But getting back to the Knicks, they've received no permission to speak to any head coach that's current. Well, you're right. Having Kevin Durant on the team where you got Draymond Green and you got Steph Curry and you also have Andre Iguodala and you have Klay Thompson, that's 5 Hall of Famers. I don't think we've ever seen, besides like the early Bill Russell time where you had guys all on the same team like that, I don't think you'll ever see 5 Hall of Famers like that, where they ran through the NBA. They just ran through and did what they wanted to do because they were that great as a team. I don't think you'll ever see that. But for the standpoint, shout out to the people that's in the comment section commenting and stuff like that. But listen, for the standpoint of everything that goes on, the New York Knicks need an offensive-minded coach. Tibbs was a defensive-minded coach. Yes, he was able to get out the best out of his starting 5, but I think that as the year went on, we saw that he needed to go to players 6, 7, and 8 more. Players 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 more to kind of balance out that roster. Most of his players had played almost 38, 39 minutes a game. And when you get to the playoffs and you have to go through 7-game series and you have to go through 6-game series or you have to go through 5-game series, that takes its toll on you. Eventually it becomes a thing where you're having to struggle to keep up. You saw against the Indiana Pacers, the Pacers just looked fresher. Halliburton looked fresher. All the different side role players that they had, the Pacers just looked better because they weren't having to play the full game. They weren't having to play long periods of time where they couldn't rest. And you think about this, the only time the Knicks starters sat, Jalen Brunson and also Karl Anthony Towns, is when they were in foul trouble. That was the only time we saw the starters sit. And you got to think about this. If your legs are tired, you're not going to get the best jump shot when you're shooting your jump shot. You're not going to get the best lift of dunking. You're not going to get the best lateral movement when you're trying to play defense. So there's going to be things that you have to do to figure out, okay, how can we make the Knicks even more potent on offense? When you have players like Karl Anthony Towns that can score at a high clip, that can shoot the three well, that don't like to play on the block. When you have a Jalen Brunson who's undersized, who's going to need help throughout the second part of the season because he gets banged up. When you think of Mikal Bridges, did we fully unlock him offensively? Because a lot of times he was just playing defense and wasn't really playing offense. He wasn't called upon to do certain things. And then you see him go up for 25, 30 points. You're like, wait, where did that come from? It's because people got to realize Mikal Bridges is actually a great offensive player. So there's several things that you have to keep in mind for the Knicks. The continuity of the team. If you're going to, moving forward, make a move, who's going to be stern enough, firm enough, and who's going to be fresh-minded offensively to where they don't keep them in the pick-and-roll offense all the time. It says Warriors fans are the biggest bandwagoners in the history of the NBA. They are the MIA right now. So lame, no loyalty. It says I want the Pacers to win the trophy. They are the underdogs. Well, if the Pacers are going to win, they have to start playing the game when the game starts. Just being honest with you. If the Indiana Pacers want a chance of beating Oklahoma City, they have to start the game once the game starts. Because as of late, they've been getting run out the gym. Even in that first game that they won in the NBA Finals, they still got ran out the gym. They just happened to come back. Oklahoma City was taking bad shots. If you look at the tail of the tape, if Oklahoma City stopped shooting jump shots and actually went and got fouled and tried to make layups, they would have won game one. If we're being honest. They are in trouble, yes, because you got to think about this. Oklahoma City hasn't given Indiana their best punch yet. I feel like we've seen the best punch from Indiana, and that's when they start hailing threes. That's their secret weapon. When they get down by 15, 16 points, naturally you're going to lay off of the gas pedal if you're the team winning by 15, 16 points. Because you're winning. You're not thinking the team's going to come back. Look at that game two. What did they do in game two? What's your favorite cologne, if you have one? I am... YSL Men was one. It's a couple of them. It's, wow. YSL Men. It's a couple. I had to look through it. Gucci always clean his duck. Yeah, Gucci is, but they don't always fill their bottles. If we're talking about it, they don't always fill their bottles to the top. Let's just be honest. I've seen when you go to the mall and you see the little bottles. They'll be like, "Can I see the outside of the tester?" You look at the thing. You be like, "That's not fully filled. Can you fill it up for me before I buy it?" Like, because it looks like somebody tested it. It looks like, yeah. When you take it out the bottle and you see a large chunk, like that much has been. Did you use this as a tester at one point? Was this a tester? Like, and they'd be like, no, it's $175. Where's the rest of it at? Wait, you funny, my guy. Yeah, listen, I'm just being honest. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But no, it says, yeah, go cheap, but that's the best, yeah. But for the most part, the Knicks have to use this time to really soul search and figure out who they want. The wrong coach can mess up the camaraderie of your team. I think that this team currently as is, with Josh Hart, with OG, with Brunson, with Mikal Bridges, they have a good core. They have a good core. And sometimes when you have a good core, you don't want to mess that up with tinkering with chemistry. You don't want to mess that up because these guys have played so well together in their first year. I know that some of these guys went to Villanova together, so they know how to play together already. To me, giving more time to the guys off the bench, giving Mitchell Robinson a bigger role in the offense, and making actual plays for him. People don't realize Mitchell Robinson was a monster in high school, offensively. When you think of just what he's able to do as far as handle the ball and do more than just slam dunk, I think you should give Mitchell Robinson a bigger role. Having somebody to be able to feed off of offensively, having somebody other than Karl Anthony Towns in the post that you have to get that accountability to on offense. So, and when you saw the Pacers didn't have the big bodies to match with them. The Pacers had smaller, quicker lineups. When they would throw Obi Toppin in, when they would throw in and they would take out essentially their center and play small ball, the Knicks didn't have an answer for it. They were running around the Knicks and running in circles and running and laying up the ball and doing whatever they wanted to do. That's such a great point. Smaller guys for sure. Thank you, Mr. Rue. And I think that overall, you're going to see a bigger push for the Knicks to probably go smaller, to have some of those other guys come in and play. Coming in off the bench, it means something. It's not a bad thing, but having Josh Hart come off the bench for a little bit less minutes, having OG come off, and off the floor a little bit for longer periods of time, having Jalen Brunson have a solid backup to where he doesn't have to play 36 minutes a game, having a point guard that can change the pace, having somebody like a Rajon Rondo that can come in on your second unit and say, you know what? Here, boom, we're running this offensive set. Here, boom, we're running this, and you don't miss a beat. It says coming off the table is crazy. Well, no, we're not coming off the table. But no, from the standpoint, the Knicks have talent everywhere. They have a talented roster. They have talented pieces. And they have possibly, if you think of starting five, overall top to bottom, they have a pretty good roster. There's nobody that I would just say, okay, out of the starting five, you got to trade or get rid of. There's nobody on this team that I would say they should get Chris Paul. I think that that's a good choice, but he has to take a pay cut. The Knicks don't have the money to take that Chris Paul hit at his salary. If you get a Chris Paul to back up Jalen Brunson, I think that's an amazing choice. That was a great idea. But will he buy into a role of being a backup on the Knicks? Will he buy into a role of being somebody that you can play in place of Jalen Brunson while he gets a rest? Can Chris Paul take 15 minutes a game for the rest of his career? Think about this. Will Chris Paul say, you know what, I'm going to play 15 minutes a night? Because if you got Jalen Brunson, give him a rest. I mean, yeah. He said, oh shit, it's Kendrick Perkins. That's funny. It says, speaking on basketball is crazy when you play D-line. Listen, I play a little bit of sports from everywhere, so you can play different sports and have an opinion. You can do so much when you have knowledge of the game, when you know how the game is played, when you've watched enough and you studied enough to do it, yes. So to me, it doesn't. You said 4-2? Yeah, it's probably going to end up 4-2 for Oklahoma City. So it's just, coach then. It's not my place to coach. I don't want to coach. It's not my calling. My calling is here, where I can talk to the everyday man, everyday woman that watches sports. So I can give you guidelines when you need help betting, when you need help with picks, when you need help with stuff like that. So to me, it's just like, it's rewarding in certain ways. It's good in certain ways, but you also get to connect in different ways. Pacers will come back miracle time. Now listen, you can only then why eat and talk? Well, I mean, it feels good to eat and talk. What do you mean? But Pacers will come back. The Pacers need to start the game when it's time to start the game. That's kind of where we're at. No, OKC got the eye on the tiger. Exactly. If they're gonna perform a miracle, they have to start the game when the game starts. You can't allow Oklahoma City to take 15, 20-point leads in a game. It worked in game one. It worked in a couple of other series. But I feel like Oklahoma City has been stung in game one by that. They will not let it happen again. If anything else, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to just start driving in the laying up in the middle. Everything. He's going to get fouled. He's going to hit free throws, and then they're going to win like that. So I just think overall it's just different. When you have Oklahoma City being as dominant as they've showed, when you got the Williams brothers, what they're doing, and they're able to offset any kind of offense the Pacers have. When you think of Dort and how he's able to play defense and score. When you think of Hartenstein, how he's able to do what he does, rebounding, him and Chet Holmgren holding it down, and being defensive fly swatters. When you think of it, they're not getting a lot of blocks, but they're altering shots. those heavy wingspans of 7 foot, when they're jumping and they're not making a block, but they're making the Pacers shoot higher or shoot at a different angle, that's affecting it. It says Pacers need Reggie Miller on that locker room and get the straight real talk. I feel like they have a real group, the Pacers. I feel like Tyrese Halliburton is a great leader. I feel like they have certain guys in there that are getting it done. But it just goes to show you, from the standpoint of what they have, I mean, it is what it is. Say it again. They work, but we're not responsible for them. It does. Yeah. No, I don't have it available. Yeah. But for the most part, I feel like the Indiana Pacers need to just match them energy for energy. When you think about overall what this team can do and how they're able to thrive, the Pacers, when they start hitting threes, that's when the defense becomes more potent. That's when they start attacking more. That's why essentially when they make these comebacks, they get teams off balance. They get them playing games that they're not used to playing. They speed the pace up. So now everything's a fast break. Everything's a split decision when you're not setting up offense at half court. You're playing full speed down the court. So you're more likely to make mistakes. You're more likely to be in the wrong defensively. You're more likely to guard the wrong guy or either make the wrong feel and then boom, an extra pass to somebody wide open, it's a three. Now you look up, the Pacers have scored 9 points in 2 minutes. Now you look up, the Pacers have scored 16 points in 3 or 4 minutes. Now your 15, 16-point lead is now you down by 2. So you got to think about this. When the guys have started icing their knees for the night, and the guys have start wrapping their backs for the night with Icy Hot and Tiger Bomb, you think that, okay, the game's over. It's fourth quarter. We got 7 minutes to go. We're up 16. But then that's when the run starts. That's when Tyrese Halliburton, and that's when the bench comes in, and all of a sudden you get one stop. You go down, hit a three, you get another stop. Come down and get a layup, that's 5 points. You go down, hit another three, all of a sudden that's 8 points. Now you got a timeout. You're trying to figure out, all right, what are we doing? Do the starters need to come back in? So it's critical. It's critical. It's going to be a wild ride, folks. It's going to be a wild ride for the remainder of the series. I think that with everything in tow, I have Oklahoma City winning the rest of the finals. And again, playing in Oklahoma City is just tough. Yeah, the Pacers were able to get a win, but you got to ask yourself, how many more wins can they get in Oklahoma City? You know, I feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be able to win in Indy. I know that Indy is a ruckus place, and they get loud. They get very loud for their Pacers, one of the best fan bases in the NBA. But for the sake of the conversation, can they will their way out of this? Can they make sure that they're not making mistakes? Can they make sure that they're doing what they need to do and actually winning the game? That remains to be seen. So it's a tough out with this one. But again, we talked about a lot in this live stream today. But again, the Knicks need to do what they need to do to get their head coach. And from the standpoint, you know, it's tough. But all you sports fans, thank you for checking out my live stream on YouTube. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus. If you're not subscribed to me yet, make sure you hit the subscription button. You check out all the updates, all the videos, all the downloads, everything we have to offer here at Sports Choice Plus. And it says, I think Pacers might pull off a New York Giants time Super Bowl performance like they did against the Patriots in 2011. That remains to be seen, my brother. That remains to be seen. But shout out to you. Shout out to everybody else that's pulled up for this live stream. And until next time, my friend, salute, and we'll see you.